Hey guys, it's Haley, and today we are going to be doing my eyeshadow palette collection. I have accumulated some palettes over this year, and I've decluttered some palettes, and I just want to show you my current beginning of 2020 palette collection. But we're going to just get straight into this because this is going to be a long video. So the first palette I just recently got this one in a BoxyCharm. This is the Ace Beauté Vintage Dawn palette. I haven't even got to use this. I just moved, so my makeup has been in boxes, but this is this palette here. It's very pretty. I got to choose between this one and one that was just more red, and I picked this one. This is a nice like sunset palette and a earth tone palette, and I just really like this one, and I'm excited to use this. Next I have a couple of Kaleidos palettes. Now, I recently got these and I love these. So first I got the Cyber Bronze palette, and oh my gosh, it's so stunning. The colors are so beautiful. This shade here, I'm obsessed with. It's perfect in this shade. They're such great quality, and like these are some of those shades that like you can put on with like a brush and it's still like so foiled and metallic and beautiful. And then I also have the Astro Pink, which is also just the most stunning. I love this shade. Like their metallics are just the most beautiful thing. Like I want more of these. I want to get the green one, but I got these two first because I thought that they would be good ones. I have a couple of Dose of Colors palettes. I have the Baked Browns. This one was the first Dose of Colors eyeshadow palette that I got, and I just love it. The quality of these are fantastic. They're so easily blendable, and they're just so wonderful, and I love them. And then I got the Blushing Berries in a BoxyCharm, and I have used this. I really love the black. It's really nice. I wish I would have got the Sassy Siennas. But I got this one, and it's still very pretty. I just really enjoy the quality of these palettes. I have several Anastasia palettes. If you watched my last declutter, I decluttered also several Anastasia palettes, but these are some of the ones I still have. This is my favorite Anastasia palette that is permanent. The Master Palette by Mario is my favorite, but that one's limited edition. But out of their permanent one, the Norvina is my favorite. I am obsessed with this. It's so beautiful and stunning, and I use it all of the time. Next I have the Sultry Palette, and it's just so stunning. I haven't got enough use out of this. When I got it, I had gotten a lot of other palettes at the time, so I haven't got as much use out of this, but every time I look at it, I'm like, I need to use this. It's beautiful. Rose Quartz is stunning. Cyborg is stunning. Cinder is stunning. They're just bloom. I love shades like this. It's just a beautiful palette, and I need to use it more, and I like it a lot. I have Subculture. I was one of the people who actually did enjoy Subculture, but I don't get as much use out of it nowadays because I have other greens that I like more, but I don't know. I enjoy it. I need to use it more. And then Riviera. So I know they started releasing like a ton of colorful palettes, and I'm really glad this was the only one that I got. I love these shades. They're just beautiful. Like if I'm going to use some color, these are shades that I would actually use. Like Seaside is really stunning. They're just all beautiful. Like I love these mattes. This shade's really pretty. This one's they're all really pretty, and I like the color story of this, and I enjoy this. And I did not get the Alyssa Edwards. I didn't get any of the big Norvina palettes, but I do like this one. This is the Nomad Berlin Underground. I think I got this in an Ipsy Plus. I haven't got to use this yet, but I want to. It's really pretty grungy shades, and like actually like a color story that I like. I have another Nomad palette that I actually bought and I really enjoy the quality of, so I need to use this because it's really pretty. I have the Celestial Thunder palette. This came in a BoxyCharm, and it's just like a mini version of the Celestial Storm. These shadows are so pigmented, it's crazy. This shade, Eternal Light, is just my favorite. It's so pretty, and it's got this like ethereal, like beautiful, it's really pretty. So I do like this palette, and yo, this is one of the most pigmented things I have. It's crazy with those mattes. I have a couple of Visart palettes. So this is the number 4 dark mattes. Visart, just like, of all the expensive palettes, this is not the one that I wouldn't pay for this again, but because I paid for it, I'm keeping it, and sometimes I'll pull it out to use it. It's okay quality, but I don't think it's worth $80. But yeah, I like the color story of this one. This is the Absinthe palette. It's the little green one. I have not got enough use out of this, and I want to use it more. It's a cute color story, and I got it because I wanted greens, but then whenever I got it, I'm like, I don't really know how to use this because there's not too many greens. But, you know, it's fine. I just need to pull it out and use it more. Now, my favorite Visart palette that I actually have is this little Petite Pro, the little apricot one. I use this a lot in the summer. It's just this really pretty, just peachy color story, and I just love, like, over the summer I was just all about the peach, and I just really enjoy this. It's really nice and easy, and I like the shades. This shade here is stunning. I really used this a lot. I really enjoyed this. I have a couple of Nars palettes. So this is the Nars Wanted. So pretty. Like, these Nars palettes are just really pretty. I don't use them enough, and I need to. Like, I need to pull these out and put these in like my everyday makeup drawer, because for whatever reason I don't reach for them, but every time I open it I'm like, I should use this. It's really pretty. I'm actually gonna set this aside so I can use this one. And then the Nars Wanted, or the Loaded palette, sorry. This one I got, and if you've watched any of my eyeshadow palette declutters or my eyeshadow palette collections, I say the same thing every time. I really loved the color story of this palette, but I don't like it. And it's because the shimmers that I would use on my lid, these two, are not the tones I would prefer to use on my lid. The mattes are stunning, and I really like this shade actually, but the main shades I would use on my lids right here, I wish they had a different tone, so I don't reach for this as much, but the quality is good. Next I have a Dose of Colors I Love Sarah E eyeshadow palette. So I got this recently. I wanted this for such a long time because I think it's so stunning. I haven't got to use it yet because, like I said, I just recently got it. But BoxyCharm had this on sale for like $12, and I snatched it right up because I wanted this for a really long time. I just never wanted to spend the money on it for 6 shades. So since I got it for $12, I'm very excited to have this and use it. This I just very recently got. This is another one, like, this is the most recent palette I got. This is at TJ Maxx for $9. I have wanted this forever because everyone has talked about how amazing this Zodiac palette is. It's the BH Cosmetics one. But I wanted it. But every time I've gone into Ulta, I was like, I don't want to pay $27 for this or whatever it is. It's I know you get a lot of shades, but it just feels like a lot of money to me. So whenever I saw this at TJ Maxx for $9, I was like, yes please. So I went ahead and picked this up. It's very stunning. I'm very excited to use it. I don't actually have too many like drugstore type palettes, so you'll see that, but I'm very excited. I used to have some BH Cosmetics palettes that I really liked back in the day when I was first starting with makeup, so I'm excited to try this. I have a few Melt Cosmetics palettes. I love Melt. This is, the Gemini palette is like my favorite palette ever. It's just perfect with the greens, and it's so stunning, and like, if you have watched my channel, I love the greens. This black is so nice, but this is my favorite green palette that I have. It's just stunning and perfect, and I love it. You can't go wrong with this palette. It's great. I'm very excited for the Millennial Pink palette that they're coming out with. I'm probably gonna buy that. Then I have the Smoke Sessions palette. Again, just the greens are so stunning and perfect, and Melt is great. I just love Melt, and like, they fit my aesthetic. I love it. I also have the Muerte palette. So I was more interested in the Vita palette, and then everyone was more interested in this one. So I started watching tutorials of people using this palette, and then I ended up getting this one because honestly, it's stunning, right? It's beautiful. Look at those shades. It's great. I have used it. It is really great quality. I love the quality of melt shadows. They're so pigmented but so easily blendable, and they're just so fantastic. I love this. I have the Kylie Cosmetics Bronze palette. Now I know a lot of people are just like over Kylie, and I get it, but like let me tell you, I don't have that much Kylie stuff, but this is like one of my favorite palettes. You can see like the dips in here. Anytime I'm like trying to do like a professional, or like I'm using this for work or like job interviews or anything, I always use this. This is like my go-to work appropriate type makeup. It's just, I have so many shades like this, and I understand that, and I understand this is super neutral and you can get this in 100 palettes, but there's something about this specific palette that I am just obsessed with. Like if I lost my whole makeup collection, this would be one that I repurchase almost immediately. I just feel like this is a must-have for me. You can see I've used these a lot. You can see dents in this, and I love this. It's really great. I have the Queen of Hearts Colored Rain. It's stunning, right? Like I love this palette, and this is one of the palettes that has made me really like purple on my eyes. And I know like I have brown eyes, so people say purple is good for brown eyes, but I've just never been about it. But whenever I got this palette, I really wanted to use this shade. This is just my favorite. But then pairing that with these plums, it's made me love the way purples look on my eyes. This and then the Normina palette, but I had this one first. And this is a beautiful palette, and I love this. I have the Alien palette. They just discontinued this. I got this at the same time I bought the Conspiracy palette, like same day. And then very recently afterwards, they discontinued this. I actually haven't used this yet because whenever I bought this, I also got the Conspiracy palette and I used that over this. But you know I had to have this with the greens. It's just so stunning, and I'm going to use it. I just haven't quite yet. But like, I'm glad I got it before it was discontinued because I'd wanted it for a really long time. I just never felt right spending that much money on it. But then I did. So I'm glad I got it before it got discontinued. I also have the Thirsty palette. So if you watched one of my past declutters, I actually decluttered this and then I pulled it back out because before I had this, I wasn't really using my Jeffree Star palettes. I decluttered a couple of them. But then when I got the Jawbreaker, I was like, oh, I actually like this formula. So I wanted to retry this, and I did. I tried it, and I like it. I like this sunflower type shade. I love these top shades, and some of these, I don't use all of the shimmers, and I've said that, and that's why I started to declutter at first. But I do like it, and I pulled it out of my declutter pile, and I did keep it. So I have this. Now this is my favorite Jeffree Star palette. This Jawbreaker palette is so awesome. Like, I kind of specifically got it for the shade Snack. I really like this shade. I use this all over my eyes, and then I also use it as a highlighter actually. But this palette is just, I love it. It's so fun and colorful, and I just really enjoy this palette. This is my favorite Jeffree Star palette that I have. It's beautiful. And then I also have the Conspiracy palette. I really like this one. This is probably my second favorite Jeffree Star palette, and I love Shane, and just I really like the color story of this. It's neutral enough that it's a neutral palette and I can use it really easily, but it's also got those bright colors and the fun colors, and I actually did a purple look that I really loved with this. I'll link it because I actually did it when I did the review of this palette. But I like this one. I like this one a lot, and it's not just because of Shane Dawson. I know like everyone said if this didn't have Shane Dawson's name on it, everyone would say it's a boring palette, and I get that. When they first revealed this palette, I was like, oh, they hyped it up a lot for this palette. But the more I look at it, the more I use it, I really enjoy it. I love this. I really enjoy this a lot. Here's the other Nomad palette I have. This is the Tokyo palette. It's kind of like that Jeffree Star palette where it's got like these kind of like pastel colors. I actually really like this. I've used this shade Lolita a lot in Kawaii. And I really like this one. I do enjoy this palette a lot. It's really cute. I like it. Okay, so the next one I have is the Pure Festival palette. This is another one I got in BoxyCharm. This one I actually really surprisingly liked. Now normally this would be one that I'm just like, this is so boring. But what first drew me in were these glitters. But I watched some videos on it and people generally didn't like these glitters. But what I actually really liked were these top 3 shimmers. These are so nice and bronzy for the summer, and I actually really like this palette, surprisingly. Normally the Pure palettes they put in the box I just get rid of and I don't like that much, but this is my favorite like Pure palette that they've put in BoxyCharm, and I really like this one. I have 2 Lorac Pro. I have the original Lorac Pro. You can see I've hit pan in taupe, and I'm about to hit pan in several of these. I always say I'm going to try to use this more because I want to hit pan on the other ones, and I actually need to before this goes bad because I've had this for a really long time. It's actually probably bad, but I want to use this more. And then the Lorac Pro 2. I love this palette. The shades in here are so stunning. This whole bottom row, all of these shimmers I am obsessed with. I think they are all so pretty. And like, this is just a beautiful palette. Like, I think this is just stunning and fantastic, and there's not really anything I don't like about this palette. The only shade I probably wouldn't use is the navy, like this one, but take that out, and all of these shades I just think are just beautiful. I like this a lot. So these next 3 have been like my newfound love for this year. This has been my favorite palette this year. Like, this is my favorite palette I purchased this year. This is the Give Me Glow Vintage Rose palette. It's so stunning. I love this. This is my everyday quick easy look palette. I love this shade Blossom. I love Blush Pink. I love Copper Rose. I just love this whole palette and everything about it. The whole aesthetic of it, the vintage rose, the packaging, the color selection. Normally I would find a color selection like this kind of like boring probably, but the way they've just encompassed this together, the marketing and the thoughtfulness of the color story with the idea of what this palette is supposed to be, I just think is stunning, and I love just all the shades. And the Give Me Glows formula is so good. These shimmers are stunning. Like, it's another one of those, it's kind of like the Kaleidos where like you can use a brush and you still get like full opacity with the metallics, and this is my favorite palette I purchased in 2019. I use this so much. And then at the end of 2019 and December, I got the Christmas Morning palette. This I had saw and I wanted so bad, but they didn't have it out, and then they brought it back for Christmas, and I was like, I have to have it. I love this. This shade here, all the shades really, they're beautiful. This shade, it's so warm and cozy and beautiful, and just Give Me Glow just is where it's at. Like, the quality of these are so good, and then the color stories are so good. Like, the color stories are curated so well with like the theme they put towards these palettes, and I really love them. And then the Grunge palette as well. I got this one on Black Friday in the new packaging, and this is like when I was in high school, this would have been like my favorite palette because of just it's the grunge palette, right? It's got the Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, grunge, teenage dirtbag, 90s. Like, this was like my aesthetic, and I want to get back into this. I love this. So this one I got in a BoxyCharm or Ipsy Plus, I don't remember which one. It's the Wondrous Seascape palette, and I have not used this yet, but I want to so bad. I think the shades in here are just so pretty, and I haven't tried Wondrous eyeshadows before, I don't think, but look at these shades. Like, aren't they? I'm really excited for the Seafoam shade, and I'm really down for like the champagnes, and I'm going to use this. I just haven't yet. This is the Melt Cosmetics Impulsive palette, and it's got all of these shades, and I was like, you know what, we'll try some of these colors. Like, I like Melt's formula, and I figured I'd try this, and especially because it was like so affordable when it was on sale. So yeah, I got that one as well. I have the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. It's just so pretty, right? Twilight, this one is just my favorite, and you know, You can't, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. I have a couple of the little Huda Beauty. This is the Smokey Obsessions palette. I really like this one. It's really pretty. I also had the Emerald Obsessions, but I decluttered that one because I really didn't think it was that great of quality. But this one I think is really nice quality, and I really like the color story in here. And then I know I got this one in an Ipsy Plus. This is the Mob Obsessions. I haven't used this one yet. And I actually may not. I may gift this to someone if I don't use it, because I don't really reach for tones like this as much, and if I do, they're in other palettes. So I've held on to it because maybe I'll use it, but if I don't, I'll probably gift this to someone. I have the Kat Von D 10-year anniversary palette. I didn't get rid of any of my Kat Von D things whenever the whole controversy went down, but I just kind of stopped using them. And now that they are rebranding and moving away from Kat Von D, I am excited about that. I don't know if I'm going to purchase anything new, but I think it's a good move for Kendo. And maybe if they come out with something I like, I will get it, but I really enjoyed this palette. The color story is really pretty. As a whole, I really enjoyed Kat Von D in the past, and then it's like whenever that whole controversy went down with her, the quality of her products went down, or like the creativity of her products went down. I remember I bought this like right before that controversy happened, and then from there, like, it wasn't even like that I didn't want to purchase from her. It was, I didn't want to purchase from her, but like nothing came out that I was like, oh, I have to have that. In the past, everything was so inspiring and exciting, but it just stopped being that way. And you know, I'm excited for the rebrand. I hope they come out with things I am interested in and I may buy them. But yeah, I enjoyed this palette. It's very pretty. The Jaclyn Hill palette. This was like one of my favorite palettes forever. I still love this palette. Last time I did a declutter, I got rid of so many warm toned palettes because this is my favorite and I use this. So in place of those, this is the one I use. And I just love this palette. It's so good. It's such a great color story and I just really like it. I have the Kat Von D, what is this one? Monarch palette. I used to have the Chrysalis, but I decluttered that one. But I enjoy the Monarch. I think I wanted to declutter this one, and then this was another one that I couldn't bring myself to do it, but I need to because this is so old. I kind of have it as like a collector's item. I feel like I wouldn't put this on my eyes. And then I have the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. This is in the Neewer packaging. It's fine. I feel like I use this more back in like my grunge days, or anytime I do a grunge look I'll pull this out, but like I said, since the whole Kat Von D controversy, I haven't really been motivated to use her palette, so I have it, but yeah. I also have, this is the Kat Von D's half of the Better Together. I got rid of the Too Faced half, but I love these shades. This is honestly so stunning. I love every shade in this. This palette is actually one that I really love, and no one talks about this, right? Because it did come in a package with the Too Faced, but like this is so old, and like Too Faced and Kat Von D are both just like not super popular anymore. But I love this. This one is, I just love this. I have a special place in my heart for that. I have the Lime Crime Venus 2 palette. I really like this one. I want to get more of these Venus palettes. Now, I will say these are not the most pigmented shadows I've ever used. You have to build these up. But I don't mind to build them up because I really like the color story of this and I want to continue to get some of these palettes. They just came out with some new ones that I want to buy. Like some really pretty ones. I think it's called like the Prelude Chroma or something like that. But like I like this. I like this palette a lot. I like the color story and I really enjoy the packaging and the color story, so even though it's not 100% super rich and pigmented, I don't mind to build it up for these. This is an old one. This is the Laura Mercier iArt Artists palette. I remember I used this on my graduation day for high school, so it's been a while. Mind you, I just graduated college. But it's stunning. It's beautiful. This was the first palette that I was just like, oh, okay, purples. But these are really muted purples, right? So these are like, I feel like a like a, what's the word? Like a mature purple, right? Like I feel like Norvina or like Desert Dusk is more bold. These are just muted and really pretty, and I really like these. I like this palette. This is the Tarte Pro. Now this, I don't really use very much, but this is a gift that I got from my grandpa, and my grandpa's my favorite person in the world, and I'm never gonna get rid of this. I don't use it very much, but this is one of the only sentimental palettes that I keep for sentimental reasons. I have a special place in my heart for this one, and I won't get rid of it. I have the Dubious Place Magic Mini. Really pretty, right? So stunning. I originally got this because I didn't have the Desert Dusk palette, and I thought this shade looked close to Twilight. But yeah, I need to use this more. I've only used it a few times. The quality of these shimmers are like the Kaleidos. They're like the Give Me Glow, where they're just super stunning and metallic even if you're using a brush and not your finger. Now these aren't as pigmented as those, but they're still really good, especially for the price. This is the Tartlet in Bloom. This is just really pretty, right? And it smells so good, and like I really like this. This is a really nice neutral palette. It's very pretty. I have the Kat Von D Saint and Sinner palette. This is another one where I just didn't want to get rid of it, but I don't use it now. But I should. It's got really pretty colors, and I did spend my money on it, so I don't want to declutter it just because I don't really like Kat Von D anymore, but it's really pretty, right? See, this is what I mean. Like, back in the day, her collections were so beautiful and thought out and just, like, stunning, right? But, like, now they're just not. You do not have palettes like this from her anymore. This is the Olimar Volume 1 palette. This I got in a BoxyCharm, but this is one of my favorite palettes I've ever gotten a BoxyCharm. I am obsessed with this palette. It's so beautiful and stunning. My favorite shade is this this one. I don't know how to say it. And this one's really pretty too. These shades are just stunning. The mattes are really nice and pigmented and blendable, and these shimmers are really pretty too. I love this palette. Love it so much. The Lorac Mega Pro 2. This is an older palette, but I still really like it. I don't use it as much as I should, but anytime I open this, I'm like, wow, I should use this because it has really pretty shades in it. And the quality of Lorac is really good. This was in a BoxyCharm as well. This is the Fairy Tales Storybook Cosmetics. This is the Little Briar Rose palette, and I got this recently in a BoxyCharm, and I actually really like it. I love the shades of this. They're so pretty, and like I was surprised at how excited I was about this palette, especially for like how big and bulky it is, but the color story is really pretty and the quality is good. I did enjoy using this. The other Storybooks Cosmetics one that I have is the Burn Book. This is like the only palette that I've ever bought based off of like the fact that it's from a movie. I love Mean Girls. It's one of my favorites, and like it's a classic, right? And the shades, I like the shades. They're cute. I haven't used this too much, but I really should because like I actually do like the colors of this, and since I paid, this was super expensive, and I should use this, and I love Mean Girls so much, and just I love it, and all the shade names, like You Can't Sit With Us, October 3rd, Mouse, Duh, Regina George, The Plastic, So Fetch. You can't not love this. Like, if you love Mean Girls, like, you have to have this. I love it. You don't have to have it, but, like, you know what I mean. Like, I have to have it. I love this. I couldn't not get it. I have a few ColourPop palettes. I have these Zodiac, which is kind of, like, my least favorite of these. And it's not because the quality's not good. It's just because, like, the color story is not super inspiring to me. I got this because Kathleen Lights did a tutorial with the shade the Cancer and the Libra, and then one of her pigments, and I just loved the look, and I bought this because she sold them in the singles, but for me to just buy the singles and then the pigment, I might as well have just bought this for a couple dollars more, so I ended up getting this. And yeah, I do like it, but I have the other ones I prefer more. The Dream Street was like my favorite ColourPop palette for such a long time. I do love this and the shades in it, and I think she did a great job of like curating this. Like I think they're beautiful. I love all the shades in this, and like even like the blues, which I don't normally use, they just look so pretty on the eye, and I really enjoy this palette. But this summer, I got the Sweet Talk palette, and oh my gosh, this one has become like my favorite. I told you in the summer I was all about those peachy tones, and I was. Like this stood out to me so much, and I use this so often. Like, if you don't want to buy like a Viseart palette for however much this is, you might as well get something like this because it's so stunning and beautiful, and the quality of ColourPop is so good, and I just really like these. I have a couple of Urban Decay. I have the original Naked. I don't use it as much, but I can't get rid of it. You know, this is like a collector's piece now. They discontinued this, and this is like the OG palette. So I have this. Now, the Naked 2 is my favorite Naked. I used to have all the Nakeds, but I decluttered a lot of them. But the Naked 2 is my favorite. Like, I love these cool tone shades. Like, Chopper, Tease, Verve, YDK. Like, I just love all of these shades. This is like my favorite. Oops, one of these Tease keeps falling out. I need to glue it back in. This is like my favorite cool tone palette that I own. I really genuinely still love that palette. I also have the Anastasia Master Palette by Mario. This is my favorite Anastasia palette. I say Norvina because it's the permanent one, but I love the shades. I got so much use out of this, and I kind of stopped because I didn't want to hit pan in it because it's so limited edition and like highly sought after. I'm never gonna get rid of this. I love this. I've dug into this so much. I love this. The color stories are just beautiful and perfect, and I need to use this more. Now let's get into some of my Natasha Denona. I did declutter my Sunset palette, but I still have these. I have the Natasha Denona, what's this one? Aries. This was a holiday palette. I actually don't get a lot of use out of this one. Mine was fine, but there was a lot of controversy because people were getting this and the pans were falling out. Mine was fine. I just like kind of don't use this one a lot because there are other palettes I like more. I have the gold palette. This one's really pretty. I need to use this one more, genuinely. Like, it's so stunning. I like it. I like it a lot. Very pretty. I love, if you are going for a high-end palette, I love Natasha Denona. Like, if you're looking for that luxury, I haven't tried Pat McGrath. I have not. But I just really love Natasha Denona. I would prefer buying Natasha Denona over, like, Viseart. I also have the Metropolis palette. I really like this one. The color story of this is beautiful, and you get, I think, 28 shades for a really affordable price. Not affordable, but comparative to her other 28 pan palette, this is a good price. Or even for the $129 palettes. This is the same price as the gold palette, and you get way more shades. And I don't mind having the smaller shades because you can get more, and I'm never going to go through a whole one. But I love the color story. This has got those greens. This is, I feel like, a good curated palette of a bunch of her palettes in one. And that's why I really like this. So if you don't have a lot of Natasha Denona palettes, I would recommend this one. It's really nice, and you get a nice variety. I really like this one. I also had the Safari palette, but I returned that. I really didn't like the quality of that. Like I said, I had the Sunset, but I found myself not using it, so I decluttered it. Then I have the Natasha Denona Star palette. I really like this one. I think the color story of this is really pretty, and I am really inspired by it. And anytime I use this, I just feel really pretty, and I love this. It's so wonderful. My favorite Natasha Denona palette, and the most expensive one, is the Big 28, the Big Daddy. This is like the OG. This is the green brown, and oh my gosh, I love it. Like, this was the green palette I had before all the green palettes started coming out, and I just love this. It's so beautiful, and just look at it. It's beautiful. I have the Tarte Aspen Ovard palette. This is super neutral and super boring, but I like it. I enjoy it. It's really hard to see this one because of like the glare, but it's pretty and I like it, and I just really like the packaging, and there's no reason for me to keep this, but I just do because I like it. This is the Makeup Forever Artist Shadow. This was like one of the first high-end palettes I ever got, and it's super neutral. They're all shimmery, and I can't use it by itself really, but I just really like it. The quality is really good. This is the only Makeup Forever eyeshadows that I have, so I like this one. Very nostalgic. I have the Kathleen Lights Morphe palette. This one came out so long ago, and I really like the color story of this. I think she did a great job on this and curating this palette. I think it's really pretty. This was my favorite palette for so long, the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, and I still love it. I love every shade in this. The only one I don't really like is this one, Talk Derby to Me. I really won't use this, but everything else, like my favorites, Peaches and Cream, Luscious, Candied Peach, Bless Her Heart, Puree, like, and then these, it's just perfect. It's such a great palette, and I will sing its praises for so long. I love this. And then the Just Peachy Mattes I also really love. This one is actually really good. I really like this, and I love the color story, and the quality is really good, and it's very blendable, and just, I really enjoy this one. Like, I just really do. There's a lot of Too Faced that I will not buy, but I really like this one. I have the Too Faced Natural Mattes. This is in that old packaging, and I really like this. I don't really like the new packaging, and I really like this shade Honey Butter out of this one. This is kind of the original shade that made me want to buy this palette. I don't use it too much anymore because I have so many palettes, but I do like this. I have the Chocolate Semi-Sweet. I had the original chocolate bar, but again, I decluttered that. This was my favorite of the like OG chocolate bars. I had the Bonbons, and I decluttered that one. This one may be on the path to decluttering because I don't use it very much, but like, it's a good palette. It's just, I have these colors in so many palettes that I probably don't need this, but I like it. Now the Chocolate Gold, man, this is stunning. Like, right? It's beautiful. It's so good. I have a couple of like single shadow things. So this Tarte palette just has a mix of just like some warm neutrals, not too much in there. This Z palette has my greens when I was trying to make my own green palette before a bunch of them came out. And then it also has a blush. I think this is an Ofra blush, but it doesn't tell me which one. But I really enjoyed that one. And then it has Pink Champagne from Anastasia, which is like a classic. And then this one, this I recently got in an Ipsy Plus that had these super boring shades, but I took the pans out and I put some in that I really am interested in using more often. So these two are Give Me Glow ones that I wanted on ice, which is this one, and then I think this one's Creamsicle. The Give Me Glow shadows, these will probably end up being trash because like these are, I'm not interested in at all. The shades are super boring. But this is a nice just little compact palette that I can just kind of put some in and just like quickly and easily, and them not be so large like this. This is the CoverGirl True Naked Jules palette. Such pretty shades. It's not my favorite quality, but it is from the drugstore, so I don't expect it to be like fantastic, but like these two shades and these two shades I just love. It's so pretty. And then the last palette for me to talk about is this is so old too, this is the Manny MUA Makeup Geek palette. Honestly, I really like this palette. Like, the shades of this are so pretty, and anytime I've ever like gone to a concert, I always use this because the shadows last so long and they're so good. This one, this red, has like dried out, but this was a red that we had before like a ton of, like before Modern Renaissance, right? So this was awesome at the time, but this is, like I said, it's really dry and I have red shadows, but like these two shades, like they're really pretty shades, like and the quality is really good. Makeup Geek is known for having really good shadows, and I really like this palette. So those were all of my eyeshadow palettes, beginning of 2020. I really appreciate you guys watching it, and maybe I'll do a declutter soon, because there are probably a couple palettes I can get rid of here. But I just wanted to show you my updated palette collection because I just moved and I'm gonna be updating my drawers and doing everything, and what better time to do this than when I have all these out and I'm gonna pack them in. So thank you for watching. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I do want to mention before I go, I know that I haven't been posting regularly, but now that I've moved and I have a place where I can actually have a setup to film, I will be doing that more. So I'm gonna get back in that routine. I know this past year has been really crazy for me. A lot of personal things going on, a lot of work things going on, and I want to get back into this consistently. And now I'm going to be able to because I am in a place where I can film and actually do stuff. So if you're still here, thank you. I appreciate you. Stay tuned because I'm going to be filming things now. Alright, well, I will see you next time. Bye.